welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna show you how I would iron the front pleat. If you've seen my other videos, you know that I don't like ironing my front pleats. Now, my Pallu pleats, I love ironing them into perfection, but I like the front pleats to look a little bit more organic. But if I was to iron them and pre-prep them, this is how I would do it. Before you start pleating, you want to iron the entire sari. So once you've ironed the entire sari, you want to just hold it around your body. You don't have to tuck it in at this point. Start the edge of the sari and then twirl. And once I get back to my belly button, this is around about where I start pleating my pleats. I usually take about 6 pleats. The other reason I don't like doing this pre-pleating is it doesn't really give you that much flexibility in terms of deciding on the spot how many pleats you want. You're kind of stuck to it, but it does look nice, especially for bridal. I have about 6 pleats here. When you have your pleats, what you're gonna do is stagger them like you normally would while you're draping. Once you've added that top pin, what you wanna do is gather all the pleats as much as possible to the end and kind of just lay it over your ironing board very neatly. And then figure out how you want them to kind of flare out. I don't like them to be exactly straight. I like them to have a little bit of flare. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm guiding the pleats. They have a little bit of flare. So you want to fan out these pleats to make sure that they're not the same width here as they are at the top. And once you're happy with that, you can just pin these in place. Make sure you're capturing all of the pleats. And you might have to add a few pins here. Once you have the number of pins that you need in so that all these pleats are held together, just make sure you check that. Once you're happy with that, what you want to do is turn it over and then pin or iron down only the inside fold. So you're not going to iron the outside pleat, and you're going to do it very lightly so you don't press down the outside fold unnecessarily. So that now all of the inside folds are pressed down, but the outside still has its like puffiness. So once you're done that, you can pleat your pallu, and let's get to draping, and I'll show you why that is important, just ironing the inside and not the outside. So now I'm gonna pleat the pallu. You can check out my pallu pleating video to learn how to beautifully pleat your pallu. I would also recommend ironing down your chest pleats, and unlike the front pleats, you can really set in these lines just because it'll look that much more neat and clean once draped. Just make sure that you're super happy with how they turn out before using the iron, because once you use the iron, you are committed. And then what I like to do is just lift it up a little bit and make sure I'm happy with how the pleats continue. So instead of going hard with the lines, I'm just gonna kind of go hard and lift off. So like that transition between straight lines and the natural curve of the sari is smooth and it looks nicely bended. Let's get to draping. So the reason I iron the inside folds and not the outside is because you want the outside edges of the pleats to be organic, but then when you drape it and you walk and the pleats open up, the inside edge will be defined and it'll give off a nice like pre-pleated look, but still give you that beautiful shape in the sari. And you'll see once I've draped it. So this is the unironed edge, and then you can see here we really ironed the inside edges. So this is the fun part. When you have everything pinned, your drape goes by so much quicker. Let's tuck in the edge. Once you get back to the front, you should have the pleats in the perfect spot. So you're gonna tuck in the front pleats, keep them as a placeholder, and at this point you can take off the bottom pins that you put in to hold the front pleats in place. And you can see it still has that organic look, but the insides are nicely ironed. Let's finish off our drape. Bring the pallu around and position it on top of your left shoulder and make sure it's the length of the pallu you want. And then bring the edge of the sari that's closest to you around your body. And you should have some extra fabric here. Untuck these front pleats and you can take off this pin because it's holding together that extra pleat. So you just want to let that go. And then you want to pin these back together, tuck them in. Once you've tucked them in, you can just create your hip pleats by pulling them to your right hip, and you can direct the fabric. So you get the pleats that you want and define them however you'd like. Okay, and then any extra fabric here, you can just fold forward and pin. You are done. You can fan out these pallu pleats. I would take out all of the pins that you used as placeholders and then add a pin from the sari to your blouse to finish it off and secure everything in place. I hope you enjoyed this video. I personally don't love the look of really pressed down front pleats. I like the organic look, but with some saris and some fabrics, if you don't guide the fabric a little bit, it'll look too puffy. And so this is kind of the best of both worlds. You can make it look organic and fall beautifully on the outside, but on the inside, you press down the pleats so it has a little bit of structure. I hope you guys try out this little hack, and if you found this useful, give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions or additional tips and tricks that you want to share with the community, leave them in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in a future video.